from 52 years and 7 months all the way down to 3.5 years. That's a massive, massive difference for the same amount that you owe money on. It's a huge difference in the amount that you pay for the interest on that, okay? So again, why we give this example is because it's a beautiful visual that you can see and look at. With the second part of this, it makes a person feel less hopeless, right? When we first look at that initial example, you know, it's going to take me a lifetime to pay off that debt. I'm going to feel stuck in it. It's going to be horrible. I don't like that. Whereas I just make a few little tweaks and changes. Wow, what a world of a difference. I can pay off that debt. I can see a light at the end of the tunnel. Also, what this helps us to recognize is that, you know, a lot of us can we go into sleep mode. You know, have you ever driven your car home from somewhere and you go on, it's called autopilot. And, you know, you show up at your house, but you don't remember the full drive from one place to the next. It's kind of like autopilot. And many of us, we can live in a world when we borrow money, we might just be making that minimum payment, but not paying that down and not really paying attention to how long it's actually taking us to make a difference on that, okay? So this gives you an idea, if you are using a credit card, just to be aware of how you're making those payments, and try to make more than the minimum payment when you do borrow money on a credit card. Ideally, if you can, try to pay it off in full every month, okay? So again, that credit report, it's a detailed history of your behavior over the past number of years. So it's kind of like a report card, you know, looking at your history in the past. And what's on that report, on a credit report, is your personal information. So it will have your name, your address, it will have if you've worked, where you've worked, it will show your social insurance number. So that's the personal information that will be located there. And then there's something called hard and soft hits that are on a credit report. So I'm going to explain this. What a hard hit is when you apply to get access to a loan. So if I apply to get a credit card at Walmart, they're going to do a hard hit. When they look at my credit report, they're going to look at it, and that's going to be a hard hit on my credit report. If I apply to get a vehicle loan, that's a hard hit. If I apply to get a line of credit at the bank, if I apply to get any kind of loan that I'm applying to get access to money, that will be a hard hit on my credit report, okay? And why it's important to be aware of this is if we have many hard hits on our credit report, our credit score will start to go down. Okay, and I'll explain that in just a second here. Now, the other side of that is soft hits. A soft hit is looking at your credit report only for information. You're not applying to get access to a loan. You're not applying to get access to a credit card or anything else. You're just looking at it for information. So for example, if you look at your credit report, you're only looking at it for information, and that's a soft hit. It will never have any impact on your credit score. Okay, so you could look at your own credit report 1,000 times a day and it will never ever affect your credit score. Okay, but if you do a hard hit, so if you're applying for a credit card or a loan, every time you do a hard hit, that can have impact on your credit score. So at the bottom of your credit report is a credit score, and it can range from as low as 300 to as high as 850 or 900. The higher your score is, the easier you have access to getting loans, the easier you have access to getting credit, any kind of credit, because you know it shows a history of your credit in good standing. And we'll talk more how that credit score comes into play. But just be aware that hard hits can pull down that score. Soft hits will never have impact at all on a credit report. Okay. Now, I just want to give a little bit more detail here is in a hard hit. So if I went to apply for a credit card at Canadian Tire, Walmart, at the bank, every time I go, it's going to be a hard hit and it will slowly bring down my score. Now, there is an exception when we're applying for loans and looking at our credit to apply for a mortgage or a vehicle loan. They allow a certain time span for you to look around, and it will only show as one hard hit on a credit report. And that time span is 14 to 45 days. To be safe, I say, if you're shopping around, shop within 2 weeks. So if you're looking for a vehicle, you can go from place to place to place. And as long as you do that within 2 weeks,